You know, with the little reviews and praise that this film gets on Rotten Tomatoes, let's see what the little ratings mean and why people make it a big deal. P.S. You can cringe now because of those jokes.
The filming Daniel.
Hey guys, it's Daniel here, back with some new videos for Marvel Cinematic Universe reviews, and I'm so close to be able to get some more done. I'm literally this close, so hopefully I can get some more done soon. And today, I'm here to review the newest Marvel Cinematic Universe film that's come out to date, before Guardians of the Galaxy comes out, later on, as well as, possibly the first installment of Phase 5 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. So Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania follows our buddy, Scott Lang, aka Ant-Man, as he's just living the normal life and also living life being praised as a superhero. However, his now grown-up daughter, Cassie Lang, has gotten herself into trouble, and then when he, Cassie, and Hope's family come together for a little family group meeting, they discover that Cassie, Hank, and Hope have been building a little machine to send a signal to the quantum realm. But Janet sees a little problem with that, and the machine, no doubt, ends up going through a little bit of a self-destruction, and it ends up sending all of the people there, the Langs and the Pims, into the quantum realm altogether. And so now they must try to survive the quantum realm, try to find a way back home, while also dealing with the threats of their new enemy, Kang the Conqueror. So I have been looking forward to Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania because it did really look like interesting facts and an interesting kind of film to make, because it's going to be taking most of the time in the quantum realm. But at the same time, I was kind of hesitant because, in my personal opinion, you don't have to agree with me, but I think the Ant-Man franchise has always been one of the weaker links in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, I saw the first two films and I liked them okay. I liked the first one more than the second one, but they just didn't really seem that keen to me. I mean, I thought they were good. They have some of the best moments in MCU history, but not a lot of it seemed like it was totally big. But I was hoping that Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was going to top those and be the best Ant-Man movie out of the bunch. And then the early reviews of the film came out. Well, actually, not really early reviews, because this movie came out 2 months ago, so I'm late to the party. So I can't really blame myself for watching early reviews, because they aren't really early reviews, but what am I getting on with? I gotta just carry on with the review. I saw the reviews, everybody sees the reviews, and the movie is not getting that great a rating. So I was kind of hesitant. So I finally got to watch this movie, and what do I think of it? It started off rough, but when I watched the whole movie, I think it's pretty enjoyable. Is it the best Marvel movie of the year? Pfft, no. Well, I mean, it's the only one I've seen so far, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to be, because this film does have its problems. But overall, it's a solidly made, adequate kind of Marvel movie that, I will admit, I kind of liked. So the first and foremost thing I will say about this movie is that the visual effects of this film were gorgeous to look at. I mean, it was jaw-droppingly excellent. When we were in the quantum realm, when we see the different landscapes and the different locations of the quantum realm, this really does like to explore more of the quantum realm a bit more, and they just look jaw-dropping to look at. I mean, that big city that they come across, the skies, the purpleness of the sky in the air, that looks really cool. The technology that they use in the quantum realm was fantastic. Also, the trippy parts, and for those of you who don't know what I mean, the trippy parts are the things that made you go, oh my god, what the hell is this? We're in a very dire situation, we're in a very, what is this? Oh, hallucination, all that stuff, all that things, especially one scene with Ant-Man. trying to receive some. I'll get to that later, but wow, just honestly one of the best looking Marvel movies I've ever seen to date. And going hand in hand with the visual effects are the action sequences. They started off okay. Honestly, some of it kind of came off a bit fluff, but they were pretty good. But the climax of the movie, I think, was really great and really saved a lot of the action sequences, and so I ended up finding the action of the movie really good. That was a fantastic climax. And seeing how this is an Ant-Man film, this is also a comedy. I found a lot of scenes in the movie to be very funny. I mean, when we see Scott interacting with multiple characters from the quantum realm, it does leave for some very confusing yet very hilarious comedic moments. One in particular, I gave hints to it before, but I think it's a scene you've seen in the trailer, when Scott is like going deep into this one area of the quantum realm to get something. It's like a MacGuffin, like it's the main kind of object you have in the movie, and he goes down and comes across like a little hallucination. Or is it a hallucination? It's like some sort of like memory kind of thing. It's hard to say, but that was probably the most comedic and most funniest thing in the entire film. It kind of seemed like something that would happen in a Deadpool film. For some reason it kind of reminded me of Deadpool, I don't know why, but it just did. I have to say that most of the performances in the movie were pretty good. I still love Paul Rudd as Scott Lang, aka Ant-Man. I still think he handled all the serious moments very well, he handled all the comedic scenes very well, and you do really care about where he's coming from and what he's trying to do for his daughter. Speaking of his daughter, Cassie, she's started off a bit rough for me, but in the second half of the film, she started to get a bit better, and I started to like her relationship with her dad a bit more. I mean, it did come across as a bit predictable, like the character who was the main character of the first two movies has a daughter in a third movie that wants to go out and live up to her dad's legacy, but her dad's like, oh, it's a bit dangerous, I think you should have a normal life like it. It did kind of come off as a bit predictable, but I still cared in the second half of the movie where the relationship was going to go. And also we have the return of Evangeline Lilly as Hope Van Dyne. I thought she was pretty good as well. I was never really a fan of Hope, to be honest. I mean, I didn't think she was awful, but I did really find her very irritating in the first two Ant-Man movies. But in this one, I say she was a really good character, but I think that's because, well, she doesn't really have a lot to do. I mean, I'm glad that she was good, but I did feel like she could have had more to do, because this is called Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. If you're not going to focus on her, just call it Ant-Man Quantumania. That's really it. But, you know, Evangeline Lilly did a great job. Michael Douglas, reprising his role as Hank Pym, still wise, still strong, yet still has his little quips now and again. He was still very intelligent as the character. I also have to say that the second half of the movie is where the movie started to get a bit more engaging, because it started to have a bit more emotional moment. It started to have a bit more, like, high stakes. It had some of the best action, some of the best comedies, some of the best drama, and the climax of the movie was really good. But honestly, I think the main reason why the second half is better than the first half is because, in my opinion, the thing that sells this movie the most, some of the best action scenes and a lot of the best scenes in this movie, belong to our main villainous conqueror, Kang. Wow. Kang the Conqueror is honestly one of the most menacing and most powerful characters I've ever seen in a Marvel Cinematic Universe film. I mean, when you see this guy, you're not very sure what he could do, and then at any moment he could definitely snap, and when he does, he comes across as a looming threat. Like, when you see this guy, this is a guy you do not want to mess with at all. And the performance that he's been given was very smooth and yet very menacing and almost terrifying at the same time. Jonathan Majors did a fantastic job as Kang the Conqueror. He was awesome, and you heard about the title of like the newest Avengers movie, The Kang Dynasty, so you do think that he might come back for some movie, and I won't give away like what happens to him at the end of the movie, but it does leave off an open note, so I'm interested to see what they do more with this character, or at least I think they're going to do more with this character. I mean, they might do more with the character, but not with the actor. It's hard to say. I mean, I've heard about the news about Jonathan Majors but I'm not going to get too much into it. The point is, I loved Jonathan Majors' performance as King the Conqueror in this movie. He was just a fantastic antagonist. So, we talked about all the good stuff that I liked about this film. There were still some things that I didn't like about the film, and honestly, a lot of the time I actually ended up worrying that the film was going to be a bit underwhelming. Why? Well, first and foremost of all, the biggest problem I had with the film, and it's where a lot of the problems came in, is the first half of the movie. Yeah, I really was not getting into the first half. I mean, I get it takes a lot of time to get to, like, a lot of the cool stuff because it's the opening, so it's taking its time, but first half of the film just didn't really seem that appealing to me, and I think the reason because, one, I felt like the pacing was a bit hit or miss, because they automatically get into the quantum realm, like 10 minutes into the film, they're already in the quantum realm. So that was pretty rushed because I've seen a lot of things to go awry, like for the first like 15 to 20 minutes, and then go into the quantum realm, but they just do it right up with a little bit of character introduction like beforehand, but not a lot. Second biggest problem in the first half is the development and use of the female characters. They still aren't that memorable, and I'm not trying to be like, oh, women are always so bad, and the male characters, they're the ones that get the most attention, they're the ones that are the more interesting. I'm not saying that. I just think that they could have been utilized a bit more, besides, well, complaining many times, because Janet, I felt like was being a little bit of a wimp in this film. I mean, I get she's been in the quantum realm for like 30 years or more. I can't remember exactly how many years she's been in the quantum realm, but honestly, in the beginning of the movie, when they got transported into the quantum realm because of Cassie's machine, the machine was going pretty well, and then Janet was like, oh no, shut it down. We have to shut it down, and then Janet hits the button to close it, and then a few seconds later, they get sucked into the quantum realm. So, honestly, I feel like it was kind of Janet's fault, because she's the one who panicked and hit the switch. And it wasn't just Janet that I was having a hard time getting into in the first half as well. Cassie, I also felt like I was having a really hard time getting into in the first half. I mean, she got better in the second half, but in the first half, I wasn't a fan of her character, because she came off as kind of a jerk. Yeah, she kind of came off as a jerky, douchey, selfish little brat, in my opinion, because she does a few things that are pretty harmful to some people, and she can also be very rude and mean to her dad. I mean, she says a few things to her dad that I'm just like, whoa, you need to chill out, woman. I mean, what is up with you? I mean, you just need to take a chill pill. I mean, I get that, you know, her father's been away for like 5 years, so she's going to be a bit more like hesitant with the sociality between her and dad, but I felt like that she could have handled it in a better way, because it was hard getting into a character in the first half of the movie. Also, while I think the aesthetic of the quantum realm was very interesting to look at, the residents residing in the quantum realm that our characters meet, I didn't feel like it was that great. I mean, besides Kang, I thought that Kang was really good. The tribe of like little aliens and people that Scott and Cassie come across seemed like interesting people, and they had that little squid one, that little pink squid one was pretty funny. But they kind of just lay them out, like they just push them to the side and they just kind of leave out, like you almost forget they're even in the movie until like the climax of the movie, and until then you honestly couldn't remember what those characters were even trying to be. Bill Murray's character was rarely utilised. I mean, he's only in like one scene describing dialogue, and that's all we see of Bill Murray in the MCU. Probably the most disappointing one, at least the most disappointing to a lot of people who watch this movie, and if you've seen the trailers, you know that this isn't a spoiler that he's in the movie. I mean, it is a spoiler about exactly who he is, but who exactly am I talking about? I'm talking about MODOK. Now, I never really was like attached to MODOK in like the original source material or any other stuff in MODOK, because honestly, I heard of the character of MODOK, but I never actually watched anything, read anything of the character of MODOK. So I wonder, how can you put that character in the MCU? Because honestly, look at him. He looks a bit gross, but I honestly felt like his character looked a bit, well, silly. Like, he's a big head, he's like in a robot body. It almost reminds you of that guy from Shark Boy and Lava Girl. But some of the latest MCU movies seem to have a bit more of a comedic approach, so of course I'm not really going to judge it, because this is Ant-Man, so of course I know they're probably going to add a comedic touch to this character. However, without giving too much away, what they reveal about this character, I'm pretty sure is going to aggravate a lot of MODOK fans. This is almost like what they did to the Mandarin in Iron Man 3, or what they did with Deadpool in X-Men Origins Wolverine. A lot of people are going to feel like that this is a complete slap in the face to a character. Like, oh my god, we're going to introduce MODOK to the MCU, I'm interested to see the possibilities, and they just kind of squandered. At least for so many people. I mean, for me, it wasn't too big, but I can understand why people are coming from, because I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be surprised if people's reactions to MODOK being in this, considering how they are MODOK fans, would be like this.
Whoa! MODOK! I'm the biggest fan of MODOK ever! Here, I even have a picture of him! Look, I sketched it myself in celebration of MODOK being in the MCU. Definitely not going to be like a cheap cop-out. Definitely not going to be a cheap cop-out. Definitely not going to be a cheap cop. What was that? What was that? You talking about MODOK? Well, what exactly is MODOK like in the MCU? Well, that's fine too.
Yep. Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm, arranging a little visit. Yeah. No. Everybody gets like that every time they see their favourite character being portrayed in a very heinous way. Okay, bye. So, I'm going to visit the hospital after this review. Just a heads up. Without giving too much away, all I can say about MODOK is that it is pretty much just the first film again. I remember when I said earlier that the pacing was getting a bit off from time to time, and a lot of the story was a bit like in the back half, like that whole tribe story. Well, honestly, when the movie does get interesting in the second half of the movie, it is very interesting, and the first half is just eh. But honestly, that's another problem I have. They feel like two completely different movies. Like, honestly, like, make the whole movie about Kang the Conqueror, and having to face Kang the Conqueror. You could literally take that whole tribe section of the movie out, and then just have him going straight to Kang. Because, while I love Kang in the movie, he doesn't really become, like, physically involved in the main story of the movie until halfway through. So, really, we only get about 50% of Kang in the movie. I mean, 50% is, like, good enough because Kang was very awesome, but honestly, I wish we could have had a bit more. I mean, they could be saving him for more in more sequels, probably, but honestly, if the movie was, like, mostly about Ant-Man having to face against Kang, making that kind of deal, trying to rescue his daughter from Kang, I felt like the movie could have been a bit stronger than it really is. And then we have my last issue with the movie. Now, just a quick note, I'm recording this on a microphone because I realised that this was an issue with the ending after finishing this review. So, I'm just recording it on a microphone because I knew I wanted to discuss this problem with the movie in the review. So I hope this recording isn't too distracting from the actual review. I think my final issue with the movie, though, has to be the ending. It wasn't that bad of an ending, I just felt like it was going to go in this one direction, but they kind of reneged on that a little, and I'll try to discuss why without giving anything away. it seems like that the ending is going to go in this one direction, where the characters are trying to get out of this situation, they found a way out of the situation, but it's the only way out of the situation, and they managed to take this route, but somebody or a few people don't make this route, and they end up stuck in this situation. And it seems like they're going to go in this direction where they're stuck in this situation for a while that is a bit dim, but there's this kind of hope that they can make the best out of this situation for future MCU movies. And I felt like that would be a great direction to take their characters for the future of the MCU. But then, like, at the last second, they completely reneged on it a little bit. They created, like, another route out of the situation that they already said that there was only one way, and they used that way, and some of these people didn't use the way, so they might as well just stay in the situation that they are, but still make a good resolution out of the situation. But then they just create a new way out of nowhere, and there's that superhero happy ending that I originally thought they weren't going to do. And yeah, I felt like that it was a bit of a cop-out that they did that ending, because it just happened out of nowhere. In fact, when the characters realized that there's another way, like, they created like a second way out of it, they're speaking like, yeah, let's go. Like, they don't even look back, they're like, it's almost like they were aware of the fact that, nope, we're not going to do that, ha ha ha. And I just really felt like that was a bit of a cop-out. I mean, it's not that bad, it was just an ending that I felt like could have been a little bit different. But overall, besides those problems that I had with the movie, the second half of the movie definitely made the movie a bit more enjoyable. And the first half wasn't bad, it was just underwhelming a bit. But the second half definitely picked up. So overall, I enjoyed Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Sure, I felt like it could have been a whole lot better, much better. But stuff that we did get, I thought was pretty good. The villain of the movie definitely stole the movie for me. I'm interested to see what direction they take his character. The visual effects is staggering, like spectacular. And there were some good scenes sprinkled throughout the film, like some great action, great visuals, one or two good jokes or some decent emotional moments. Paul Rudd is still fantastic as Ant-Man. So, overall, I think it's pretty good. I mean, I'm not sure what place I'd put it in my section of the 3 Ant-Man movies, but I think the first film might possibly top them. I don't know, I'll have to rewatch them. But overall, I'm going to give this movie a 3.5 out of 5. It's enjoyable. I mean, if you have seen it once, you don't really have to go see it again, but if you do like the movie a lot, then you can watch it as many times as you want. I don't think it's pretty much for cheek. But anyway, what do you think about the movie? Do you love it? Do you hate it? And what is your favourite Ant-Man film? Let me know in the comment section below. I hope to get more videos done. I'm Daniel, reviewing movies, TV shows, doing videos. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I don't know why I'm tapping the screen before I answer, because you're the one calling either. But that's not important right now. How are they? Uh-huh. Okay. I'm Daniel, reviewing movies, TV shows, and doing videos, and I'm going to lead my own support group of these people who've watched this movie, seen MODOK, and I'm going to help them through. Good, Daniel. Peace out, man. This is going to be a long ride.